Welcome everyone to episode 25 of Twitch Tales. Where did we leave off in episode 24? Well, Apis had just leveled up to level 4, and in returning from Jack Creed's farm to the town proper of Shadridge, they discovered the townspeople, Kathleen included, the local law enforcement guard, they were putting up a new house. And a new building that could be residence or business. We're not sure exactly what they were building it for. But we took Kathleen off to the side and asked her what was going on in the couple of days we'd been away. Was there any news, anything for us to do? And Kathleen said, "I'm glad you asked that, actually. I'm a little understaffed here, and we haven't been getting supplies through from the nearby town of Fondirg. It's about a 2 days ride away. Sorry, a day on horseback or about 2 days walk. Would you mind popping on over there and checking out what's going on, seeing if there's anything amiss, anything intercepting the local supplies and things?" And so we said, "Sure thing, we'll do that for you." So we borrowed a horse, the horse that used to belong to the late Paul. And we set off in that direction, the southwesterly direction. We rode for the rest of the day and arrived at a patch of dead wood, where we set up a hammock in the trees. And during the night, there was a sound that woke us, a sound of sort of scuffling and chewing of wood. And we saw a massive Great Dane-sized termite that was nibbling at the trees and moved past us and continued to nibble at other trees. And we looked down and realised that we were covered in termites from the trees as well. It seems like this dead forest has a significant termite infestation. We used Mel's summoning ability to get rid of the termites in our immediate vicinity, so that we could finish our rest in peace. And in the morning we set off further south, continuing on towards Fondirg. On the journey, we got about a couple of 100 feet away from an overturned cart when we noticed it and stopped, suspicious that it may be some sort of a trap. We got off of the horse and tied it up, and then we, without Mel with us to disturb our stealth, we snuck through the tree line to our left, until we were close enough to hear some muttered words. What we heard seemed to be the sound of raised voices and a bit of an argument between the 3 humanoids that we could see around the cart. And as we got closer, we noticed that A, there was no horse with this cart, no sign of knowing what had happened to it. B, the cart seemed to have lost the cartwheel and was turned onto its side off of the side of the road. And C, the 3 humanoids that were standing around the cart weren't actively trying to right it seems. Instead, they were talking about what to do and what they were doing, and then there was long periods of silence, and then one of them asked, "Thunderbolt, can you see him?" And then they looked over to the tree line where you were standing, noticed you behind it, and said, "Oh, hey Paul, do you mind coming over and giving us a hand here? We've got in quite a predicament. We need your help." And that's where we pick up today. So what we're looking at are 3 humans in traveller's clothes. There are 2 men and a woman. One of the men looks noticeably larger and stockier. I will take us over to the battle map. Not that we are in a battle per se, but it'll be good to show you a little. So we are hiding in this tree line up here, and this gentleman is the one that... Wait, can you see that? This gentleman is the one that just shouted out to us. This woman is the one that seemingly was arguing with him, and this guy is the stocky-looking fella, the big, strong-looking dude. So they've called over to us. We don't see any visible traps in the sense of there's no hanging nets, there's no pit traps on the ground between us and them, there's no wires hanging off of the cart that look ominous. They do have weapons, or at least this guy does. We can't see what this guy's wearing, and she's got her back to us when we first, at this very moment. So we're not sure if she's got weapons. But we can see that this guy has a short sword, just like a personal sword, by his side, in a sheath, and he has a crossbow on a leather strap hung over his back. It's not unusual for people to have personal arms, of course, especially on dangerous roads like this. So what do we want to do, everybody? What's our option? This guy has just called over to us, and as he says, do you mind popping over and giving us a hand? She sort of turns and has a look at in our direction as well. Apis wants to help those in need, but they also don't want to die. Yes. Apis is... There's two conflicting things about Apis's mind at this stage. We have established before that Apis is slow to trust, but also that Apis will help those in need. So they will always help those in need, but they are slow to trust. So what to do? Mel is about 150 to 200 feet away, north of this map. How tall is this rock between us? This rock here is probably about 2.5 feet off the ground. As a 4.5 foot tall dwarf, it might give us like half cover. Alright, most people say in conversation from the edge of the trees or from the behind the rock or whatever. So Apis just steps forward one or two steps to the edge of the forest here, keeping a close eye on where they're looking. Obviously, there's no obvious traps where we're about to stand. So we walk forward and say, "What's happened, pal? What's going on?" And the guy says, "Yeah, it's a terrible thing. Our horse got spooked," and she interrupts and says, "Oh yeah, the horse got spooked. Yeah, as if it wasn't your fault." And he says, "Felicity, not now. The horse got spooked, jolted, it broke away, and it pulled the cart to the side as it went, and it tipped a cart over, and it snapped our axle, jolted right off into the forest there." And she sort of rolls her eyes and tuts under her breath. You can see that this guy, the muscle man, is kind of just like he's noticed you there. But now he's gone back to kind of just like looking down at the wagon. Is there anything we want to say back to him after he's told us what happened, or what his version of events was? Can we ascertain if they're telling the truth? Sure can. So what we do there is we make an insight check. Let's do that. Not bad. That's a 12. It's slightly above average. With our insight check there, actually I'm going to roll something here behind the screen here to see how well this guy is either lying or telling the truth. This is going to indicate to me whether you can ascertain one thing or the wrong thing. Alright. With the 12, you gather that you didn't see any, you didn't read any signs one way or another that would indicate you to know whether this guy was lying and was good enough at lying that he got it past you, or was just telling the truth. So you've got nothing to go on whether or not this guy was lying or not. Ask them why they haven't gone looking for the horse. Why haven't you gone looking for the horse? And the guy calls back, the main guy who's talking to you with the big mustache, says, we've got nothing to tie it to when we get it back. We're trying to right the cart first, but it's too heavy for the three of us. If you wouldn't mind giving us a hand, you look like you're from stocky build. No offense, obviously, but if you wouldn't mind, love, we'd really appreciate it. I think between the four of us, we might be able to lift it up. With that, he is going to start to wander around the back of the cart this way, and this guy shuffles over to this corner as well. And she sort of like just tuts and stays where she is. Check around for any signs of fighting, says Gino. Okay, sure thing. I will do so. With an investigation check, we're going to look around the immediate area for signs of blood or signs of like scuffed mud, all that sort of thing. Not bad. 16. Why are they righting the cart? Didn't you say it's missing a wheel? Yes, I did say it's missing a wheel. This wheel is falling off here. But before they can right it onto its right side, then they can't fix the axle and put the wheel back onto it. So with a 16 investigation, we look around we can't see any signs of blood. There's no signs of scuffed up mud, like there's been a kerfuffle. There's no signs of like arrows in the trees next to us, or sword or slash marks in the bark of the trees in the forest in the immediate area. So from where we're standing, there's no signs of a battle. With a 16, looking at the path that they trundled down, it's basically solid dusty dirt, and it's been well travelled with horse and cart and things, so they haven't left any cart tracks recently. So when we ask him, "Are you which way are you coming from?" and he said, "We set off from Fondirg with supplies for Shadridge, and we're heading this way." And it seems to like that at least lines up with the direction of where we know to Fondirg and Shadridge to be. Did they say what spooked the horse? No, they didn't, but she inferred that it was something that the mustachioed man did. How's the weather looking? It is currently mid-spring, so it's probably a little chilly. Would it be rainy? Let's have a look. Let's give it a percentage chance that it's going to start raining later. We'll make it a 40% chance. That is a 10. So yeah, it looks like it's overcast and going to start raining later today. Can we ready our magical rope without looking like we're about to attack? Yeah, we certainly can. So I think that's surreptitious enough that Apis can sort of make it look like they're going to help. Roots in the bag and gets out a thing of rope, the coil of rope, and just has it in the hand. So you've got a coil of magical rope in your hand, just in case you need to activate it. In order to actually activate it, it takes an action, but then it would animate. So then it would be clear that you're using a magic rope for something. What should we do now? Ask for their names. Ask who or what Thunderbolt was, because we heard them mention Thunderbolt. Go and fetch Mel. Go and look for their horse. Or walk forwards and try and help them to right the cart and take them at their word. Alright, with 56% of the vote, we decide we're going to ask them their names. So before going anywhere, the guy says, "You mind coming over and give us a hand? I think between us we'll be able to lift it up, and then Felicity can slot the wheel back on, and then we can do something to sort of patch up the axle enough to actually get us to Shadridge at least." And we say, "Yeah, sorry, how rude of me! I didn't catch your names." And he goes, "Oh, I'm Oliver," and she says, "I'm Felicity." And then the guy behind the tougher guy, the bigger looking dude behind here, just puts his hand up and says, "Morn." So we've got Oliver, Felicity, and Morn. Don't trust them at all. Let's get Mel now. All right. So the next biggest majority of you wanted to go get Mel. So we say we've got time pressures. We'll send help. Go and get Mel. So we say I've got a friend just up the road. I can go and fetch and my horse is tied up back there as well, so I can help out with that. Let me just go get my horse. They might be able to help us pull this thing. I'm gonna roll a persuasion check on Apis' behalf. But that was a 17 on the dice, plus Apis' modifier of 1, I think, for persuasion. And we are persuasive enough in what we say that they are going to not kick up a fuss about us going off to get our horse. And so we're like, well, I'm just going to go get my horse. I'll be back to help you pull this thing out. And then we set off up the road. All right, so we get all the way up to Mel. And they didn't kick up a fuss, but they also didn't do anything with the cart when we left. They were like, all right, and then they just kind of went back into their sort of waiting state, because they know that they can't lift the cart on their own. We sort of glance over our shoulders, and no, we're not being followed, it seems. So we get back to Mel, and Mel says, what is it? What happened? Tell me. What do we tell Mel? Just tell her everything, I guess. We say, there were 3 humans by a cart. They claimed that the horse had run off, and the wheel had broken, and all of this, blah, blah, blah. I'm suspicious. I don't know what's happened. I didn't see a sign of a battle. They definitely mentioned some thunderbolt or something, but I don't know who or what thunderbolt was. But none of them gave their name as Thunderbolt, so I don't really know. So we are with Mel and our borrowed horse, who is quite an old boy, an old riding horse. What do we want to do now? Check for horse tracks in the forest. Can we track the horse? All right. Who thinks the next best thing for us to do now is to look for their horse before going back to talk to them? All right. So most people saying, let's go see if we can find this horse. So are we taking the horse with us to investigate for horse tracks? Are we going to leave Mel with the horse, or are we going to take Mel with us but leave the horse behind? What do you guys think? All right, with 57% of the vote, we decided we're going to take him with us. We're going to take him with us into the forest, which will make it slightly harder for us to look for tracks, but it'll make it easier for us to, for him to not go missing or stolen, and it will also make it, we'll be able to just defer to him, like see where he wants to go and kind of just follow his lead, I guess. All right, so Apis grabs the reins of this horse, Mr. Ed, and unties them from the tree that they tied them to, and says, "Right, let's go look for this this horse that they've apparently lost." And we look back down the road to where we can kind of see them all bundled up around the cart. And he said he darted this way and went into the forest. Okay, so in that case, we'll start going that direction. We make our way back down the road a little bit, maybe 100 feet or so. Now we're only about 100 feet from them, and we're like looking for entries as to where in between the trees their horse could have run. And we pick one eventually and just start to walk into the forest. We are looking for tracks, and with that I'll roll a survival check for us of boop. Ooh, 7. There's a 7 on the dice there. You can see 7. Not that bad when you add in all of the bonuses. A 13. So we're looking for this horse tracks for a few minutes. When we hear a voice from the tree line that we just kind of left, saying, "Are you all right in there? You said you were going to grab your horse and come back." And we sort of look around and we can see that he's like 40 feet back from where we are. Back at the tree line by the road. So you said you were going to come back, and then she appears on his shoulder and says, "Where you going? We need your horse to help us get out of the mud, out of the ditch." So we turn around and say, "We're just looking for your horse. I'm pretty good at tracking things. I'm a bit of an outlander, a bit of a ranger. I'm very good at tracking things, and you said your horse ran this way, so I'm just I'm just looking for your horse, because obviously I need mine eventually, and it's pointless as riding your cart if we can't find your damn horse." And he goes, yeah, right you are. As he says, yeah, right you are, he seems nervous now. He is, he kind of like looks like somebody who is being forced to go off script, is I guess how I would describe it. Mel is with us. Yes, Mel is with us. We have a horse. We are holding on to our old horse. We're in the underbrush of this particular forest. We have 2 different types of rope. We've got a regular rope and a magic rope. Is it just those 2 following us? We're about 40 feet deep into the tree line here, so we can only see those 2. Look around to see if there are any signs of accomplices in the area. All right, let's make a perception check for Apis. 19 plus modifiers. We sort of look around, and looking down south into the tree line. Sort of, this map doesn't really extend into the tree line so much, but looking down into the tree line, we can see that the bigger of the 2, the bigger friend of theirs, is kind of making his way through the tree line towards us as well. Yeah, in order to carry on to Fondirg, we could either go through this forest a little further to try and get around them and then go past them, or we can get back to the road and just ride past them, I guess. What's your horse's name? I might help to find it. And he goes, she quickly says Jessie, and he says, it didn't have a Jesse. All right, so Apis has pretty well established at this point, as this guy starts to get a little closer. Apis is pretty well established at this point that they're lying to you. You don't know why they're lying to you, but they're lying. What do you guys want to do as Apis? You have Mel with you, you have a horse with you. Alright, I will put a poll together then. The 3 options are going to be run, fight, or talk. Alright, with 43% of the vote, a very close decision indeed, with 19 to 17. This is why it's very important to vote, everybody. It came down to just 2 people voting. Apis decides to talk instead of running or fighting. Warn and intimidate that you don't want to fight, but they will regret it, especially if the big guy trying to sneak up. Yeah, now that you kind of look that way, the big guy had a sort of sheepish look about him when you saw him, but like also just makes it look like he's kind of just coming towards you. It doesn't like try and like dart behind a tree as soon as you look his way. This is pretty bold. We are outnumbered. Yes, we're outnumbered by 3 people. One of which we know to have weapons on him. Let me roll a perception check on Apis's behalf here. That's an 18. 18 plus modifier. 18 plus modifier is going to be enough. So as we look down that way, we can see that the big guy has an axe that is hanging by his side. Looks bigger than a hand axe, more like a sort of battle axe kind of size. Alright, with 69 nice % of the vote, we decide to intimidate them, to drop the facade. We know that they're lying. We come out and just straight up say, as we say, so what's the name of your horse then? It might help in finding it. And then they give different answers. And then we say, oh, is that right? Listen, I suggest you tell me what's actually happening here. If you try and attack me, this is not going to go well. And as you say, this Mel sort of, in Apis, what is happening? And you quickly tell her in Sylvan, get ready for a fight. And she takes off from the back of Mr. Ed and just like hovers above you. And you on. You're not going to like how this turns out if you try and attack me. I'm going to try an intimidation check. Let's see how this goes. That is a 13. We've got a +1 charisma, so that makes it a 14. A 14. Do we want to use Inspiration or Lucky Horseshoe to re-roll that and hope for something higher than 14? 72% of the vote saying yes, we will re-roll. Which one did we say was better? Horseshoe is better because it can be used for more things. Inspiration is only used for this sort of thing. So we're going to use Inspiration to re-roll that. Boop. Let's turn that off and let's give it a re-roll. Re-rolling our intimidation attempt makes it a 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. So we'll take the 14 from before. Technically, we could horseshoe it, but I don't think that's important right now. So with a 14 intimidation, we say you're not going to like how this plays out. And the guy over here, what's our insight? Are we insightful? Let's have a look. Our insight is a +2. We're not proficient in it, but we do have a +2 passive anyway. So with our passive insight, as we say that, this guy kind of smirks and takes another step forward. This woman kind of rolls her eyes and like she's disappointed. This guy looks a little bit intimidated by what you've said, and it's actually this guy that speaks. He says, "We're not going to like how it turns out either way. I'm sorry." And he throws his crossbow off his shoulder, and with that, it's clearly a hostile action, and so we will go into an initiative order. We managed to avoid any sort of surprise round on us. It was clearly some sort of bandit ambush by the looks of it, and we were onto it enough to not take the bait immediately. But we are also in a position where we are entering into a combat. Let's roll initiative for Apis. Apis is a 6 with a recent +2 to Dex. Recent Dex +2 gave us a +3 to Dex over there. You can see. and insight is based on dexterity. So we have a +3 to that. So we've got an initiative of 9 for Apis. Mel is also got a +3 to her dex. No, +4 to her dex now. Ooh. So Mel's initiative is a 16. Mel is slightly more onto it, prepared for the fight than we are. The bad guys. Ooh, that's not good for us. Ooh, that's not good for us either. So that was a 15 and a 13, but they've both got modifiers. Do we, at this point, want to use our lucky horseshoe to re-roll our initiative now that we realise that we are last in the initiative order? It's up to you. So with 69 nice % of the vote, we decide no, we're not going to use the lucky horseshoe. We're just going to go with the initiative that the fates allowed. So this is the layout of the battlefield as we see it. As mentioned, we are about 40 feet from them into the tree line. There is just more trees this direction from us. As mentioned as well, we have a riding horse with us. We are currently holding the reins of. And this guy is about 30 feet from us. Mel is active and ready for a fight. And they have the initiative. Here's what happens. First up, this guy who just said that he doesn't want... You said you're not going to like how this goes if you attack me. What's happening? Are you doing the thing? Oh, it's because I'm not selected. There you go. He said, we're not going to like how it turns out either way, I'm afraid. He gets his crossbow off his shoulder. He pulls it back, takes a bolt out of his quiver, sticks it in his crossbow as he walks through the forest this direction. He gets to about here. He aims his crossbow in your direction and says, we don't want to hurt you, pal. We just want your stuff. And he takes no shot. She's going to sort of follow him a little, but she gets herself kind of tucked into this bush where she's going to go. It's not the first time doing this, so she's going to... Oops. She is going to split up from him actually and make sure that your options are a little bit limited to you, so that you feel like your options are limited and your only option is to give up. She gets to about here, tucks herself into this bush just a little, and then she starts to sort of run her hands over themselves, and they start to glow with a little bit of energy, and you realise, oh, okay, that's why I didn't see her holding any weapons. She's got some sort of ability with magic. She reiterates what he just said and says, just lay your weapons down, you won't get hurt. That is their turn. It is now Mel's turn. You told Mel to prepare for a fight, and she has seen the bandit take an aggressive action with his weapon, but does not take a shot. She's going to summon the swarms because it's a preparatory thing that's like, hey, we're not taking an action against you, you're not taking an action against us, but I want to show you that we're capable of defending ourselves, kind of thing. That's what she's going to do. She's going to use her. Mel can summon a swarm of biting and stinging insects in an unoccupied space within 30 feet of her. The swarm uses the stat block of Mel's militia, which improves as Mel levels up. So in come the bees. Where is she going to summon them? I don't think she's going to take an aggressive action right now and summon them over the top of this guy. Or this one. But she's going to have it as like it could go for either of you kind of thing. Don't fuck with us kind of thing. Or don't mess with us or we'll mess with you. How far can they move, the militia? The militia have got a fly speed of 30. So as long as they're within 30 of these guys. So Mel starts to... and all of these biting and stinging insects start to burrow out of the ground and out of the wood of the trees around, down from the bottom of the leaves that they were building their cocoons and eggs on, flying in through the air around the forest. and starts to attack. Or starts to form into a swarm that can attack. Alright, Mel has taken her bonus action. Is it a bonus action? No, it's an action. Action to summon the swarms. Alright. Then Mel's militia will go right after Mel. It has its turn. They have an intelligence of 1. They will use a readied action on Mel's command. Mel speaks to her swarm and readies them to go after somebody who makes an attack. So as soon as one of them makes an aggressive attack against us, the militia's readied action is to move their 30 feet towards them. All right, it is Bandits 2. Bandits 2. This guy, the big dude. You see him reach down, grabs the battle axe off of the hook on his belt, and hikes it off, and says, "Just put down your weapons. You don't have to get hurt." And he strolls up pretty close. He's not getting right next to you, but he's like getting. Actually, is he gonna get next to you? Yeah, he's gonna come up to try and like take your things now. Essentially, he gets his battle axe. He puts it up in front of him, and he comes right up to you, saying like, "You don't have to get hurt here." Apis, it's your turn. So you can move roughly to the edge of that circle. A little bit less if you have to manipulate yourself around trees and things. That's using your own movement. If you get on the horse, obviously you can move further than that. So let's roll it, see who's going to do it. Wraith 85. Can you make sure that you... I know you're already chatting. I can see that you're here. What are you going to do, Wraith? Rope up the bad guy behind us. Tie him up tight, like a turkey dinner. That's an action, right? So bonus action would maybe be Hunter's Mark. All right, so let me just be 100% clear by looking up exactly how a rope of entanglement works. This rope is blah feet long. Use an end of the rope and use an action to speak its command word. The other end darts forwards and entangle a creature you can see within 20 feet of you. The target must succeed on a DC 15 dexterity saving throw or become restrained. You can release the creature by using a bonus action to speak a second command word. A target restrained by the rope can use an action to make a strength or dexterity check. On a success, it is no longer restrained. The rope has an AC of 20 and 20 hit points. It regains 1 hit point every 5 minutes as long as it has at least 1 hit point. That's different for us because it's a rope of mending as well as a rope of entanglement, so I think it regains more than that. Alright, so as an action, you see this guy coming, so yes, you do have a bonus action left. So as an action, you did mention earlier that you had the rope in your hand, so you've got a reins of the horse in your left hand, you've got the rope of entanglement in your right. As this big guy comes over with his axe, he's kind of smiling a little bit. He seems less... from your passive insight of +2, of the 3 of them that you've seen, he seems the less conflicted about what's about to happen. And as he says, you don't have to get hurt, just put your weapons down. Apis decides to kind of like look almost as though you're like putting your hands up in defeat, and then you hold you make sure you're holding one end of the coiled up rope, and you give the command word, which was something in Elvish that I can't be bothered looking up right now, but it's some Elvish word for restrain. And you say this, poof, it darts forward, hits him almost square on. He must succeed on a dexterity saving throw. I'll become restrained. DC 15. That is a 17, unfortunately. So as the rope hits around and starts to wrap around him, he is faster than you expect. Manages to bring the handle of his axe that he had ready in front of him. Oh, lucky horseshoe! You could make him re-roll that. No, can you? Attacks against you. Yeah, I'll allow that. It makes sense. Shall we lucky horseshoe? Force him to re-roll it. Let me put that to a poll. And currently it is 22-1. 23-2. I accidentally made it 2 minutes instead of 1. I misclicked. So I'll just get it to the 1 minute and it'll be good. It's almost unanimous. Alright, with lucky horseshoe, we are going to use it at this stage. Here we go. Oh, that was very nearly a 14. It went 14, 6. So with a 6 and his modifier, it's not going to be enough. So he is restrained. Restrained. I'm sure there's a rope on here somewhere. I'll put the net. There we go. He's all netted up. So he walks up to us, says, "Put your things down." We use our command word on the rope. It shoots out. He brings his axe up to knock it to the side, and then just lucky for us, the axe handle, the head of the battle axe, catches on one of his the straps of his collar and just like tugs at it a little bit, which prevents him from pulling it up all the way and knocking the rope right over his head. Instead, it kind of gets caught on the rope, which allows the rope to fully restrain around him. Pulls the axe up to his chest, and he manages to. He pulls his arms and axe free of the rope, but he is restrained, meaning he can still take an attack, but it's at disadvantage because he's like that. That is a hostile action from Apus's part, which triggers all 3 of their readied actions. The guy up here in the bush hesitates. He goes, "Come on, we don't want to have to do this," and gives you another warning. But the lady down here casts her spell. She releases it. She brings her hands apart, and you see that the glowing hands that were glowing like a light blue form like this blue ball of energy between her hands, which she then pushes forwards, and this thin ray of blue energy comes firing towards you. She is going to try and hit your armor class. Nat 1! She does not. She might actually hit her friend. She, with disadvantage. No, yeah, she actually hits her friend with it. This is not going well for her. So she shoots this thing forwards. The rope, luckily for us, manages to kind of tangle this guy, and he kind of stumbles forward into the direction of where she was aiming, and he takes 2 points of cold damage. All right, but then his readied action triggers, and he attacks you. He's now got disadvantage because he's all roped up. So with disadvantage, that's going to be a 15 or a 7. A 7 plus his modifier is... Where did I write their stats? Is it one of these? Oh yeah, there it is. Nope, not quite enough to hit. Lovely ambush they've got. Didn't actually bloody work for them. Alright, so the 3 of them took their readied actions in response to your action trying to attack them. But you've still got movement and a bonus action. What do you want to do, Wraith? Movement and a bonus action. Hunter's mark the lady. Alright. So she shoots something at us, and we realise she's some sort of arcane user. So after casting this thing at the guy next to us, we're going to have an arm free for our hunter's mark. So we drop the reins of the horse, presumably not. We want to drop the other end of our restraining rope. Drop the reins of the horse, and instead just point our hand out towards her and pull up as if we're holding onto a bow. We don't have it in our hands, but we pull up on nothing and cast Hunter's Mark on her, and she gets a little green token. And we mark off one of these little spell slots. Pop, one of them's gone. Hunter's Mark the lady, and then you've got movement. We can loop the rein down over our arm, I guess. Yeah, we just drop the reins down into the crook of our arm as we pull up, and so we've still kind of got the reins there. Oh yes, and also the militia, thank you. The militia had a readied action for when any of them take a hostile action towards us. The militia are going to use their readied action to use their movement to get over in her grill. You don't want to move anywhere? Awesome. Alright, so we stay in there, and that is the end of Apus's turn. It is now the bandits' turn, and back to the top of the round. This guy's going to move out here, move down this way, use his movement to get all the way over here, and then say, I'm warning you! One last time! Let him go! Let him go! And he's going to just hold his action there. She is just let this thing loose, which triggers these big swarm of bees to come over to her. She doesn't like that, so she is going to... She casts a spell in front of her. What sort of a spellcaster is she? She's covered in bees. She grabs them out of the air, I think. Yeah, she grabs them out of the air. So as she casts Ray of Frost towards you, and then the bees start to come in and surround, and as she does, she sort of like reaches out towards the bees and grabs a hold of nothingness and kind of like pulls it towards, and she does this 1, 2, 3 times, and then she lets them all loose, and as she's pulling nothingness out of the air, it's starting to coalesce mist into her hands, and then the mist starts to form into almost lawn dart sized missiles, which she then looses, and they spiral trajectory into the militia and just casts a magic missiles on the Mel's militia. That's going to be max. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 points of damage to the militia. Oh boy, the militia are almost dead already. She couldn't afford to be hurt by this swarm of bees coming in. So they have taken 12 of 16. They've got 4 points left. And this militia is now bloodied. That was her action. She's got movement, and she's got bonus. Movement and bonus, movement and bonus. I don't think she's going to do anything with her bonus. She's going to move out of their space. They're going to take an attack of opportunity, which is a +3 to hit. 10. 10 is not enough to hit her. So they all kind of like swarm, but a lot of them have been just blown aside by magic missiles hitting them. So they don't manage to hit. She gets here, she hops over this thing, which takes extra movement, and she starts to move this way. And then she's going to duck with the rest of her movement into this little bush here. That's all of bandits number 1. It is now Mel's turn and the militia's turn. Mel has seen that there is definitely some sort of hostile action going on here, so she's going to try and put that spellcaster to sleep. She takes to the skies, and then she's going to use soporific spores. Mel shakes off a dusting of pollen, which drifts downwards to form a 15-foot radius cloud up to 30 feet directly beneath her. All creatures in the cloud must succeed on a Constitution saving throw, blah, blah, blah. So she has to make a Constitution saving throw. Which she makes. 17. 17 plus stuff is going to beat the DC. Alright, well that didn't work. But she tried. And then it's the militia's turn. The militia are going to follow after the lady. But they're going to take the shortcut way and come around this way. And with less than their movement, they can get to her, so then they can make a secondary attack. 7. 7 is going to be a miss. Unfortunately, this militia is not doing well this round. That is Mel, that is the militia. It is now the secondary bandit. This bandit is all restrained. He's going to use his action to try and get out of the restraint. 18. 18 plus his modifier is enough. He manages to weasel his way out with his athletics. He pushes and pulls and eventually he gets the rope off of himself, but it did use his action to do so. These guys are rolling well. There's things happening. He can't see you. Yeah, he's going to roll, but he's going to roll with disadvantage. Oh, that'll hit. And with disadvantage, that'll still hit. I'll explain this in a second. Bear with me. 2, 4, 6, 7. Ugh. 10 points of damage. So Apis, as this is all happening, the bees are buzzing, chasing down this woman who's running away. You hear the twang of a bow from somewhere in this kind of vicinity, somewhere down here, and an arrow comes whizzing through the tree line, cutting through a bunch of twigs and things, and slams into your shoulder, digging deep into past your leather armor and dealing 10 points of damage to you, which was a garbage sneak attack, to be honest. It's taking you to 35 damage. And as he takes a shot, the archer that was in the tree over here has revealed himself in his position to you. Oh, he would have had an advantage on the attack, so it would have hit it regardless. That is bandits 2. Apis, you're up. So let's roll it and see who is going to be deciding what Apis is going to do. Freezer, the Ice Knight. Are you still in the chat, Freezer? Can you give us a little thumbs up emote or something to tell us that you are still here? You are. Awesome. What are you going to do, Freezer? You've got an action, a movement, and a bonus action. You have a hunter's... Oh, you need to make a concentration check first to see. Let's turn on the dice cam and give Apis a constitution saving throw to see if that damage from the sneak attack is enough to make you drop concentration on your hunter's mark. Ah, that's an 8. Ooh, but your constitution might be enough. So that's an 8, and then your constitution is a +2. So that's a 10, which is exactly what you needed. So you just it comes whizzing out of the trees and you're not expecting it. You feel like you maybe now be aware of who Thunderbolt is or what Thunderbolt is. But thankfully you managed to maintain just concentration on Hunter's Mark. So this lady over here is still marked if you wanted to attack her with a bow and arrow or something. This guy over here is still still aiming his crossbow at you with a slightly shaky hand. And this bandit here has just thrown the rope off of him. What do you want to do, Freezer? Okay, can I move to the right of the hand axe guy without incurring attack of opportunity? Yes, you can. Let's move you. So as long as you stay in melee range, you can move to his right over here. You can move anywhere around him like this. As soon as you move away from him, that incurs the attack of opportunity. So you move to the right of the hand axe guy. Are you, yes or no, are you going to drop the reins of the horse? Or are you going to try and move the horse with you as you move around him? It's going to be more cumbersome to do so that way, I guess. Move the horse, I reckon. Meat shield. All right, so you're bringing the horse with you, and you keep the horse's reins attached to your hand as you kind of move around. You pull the horse along, pulling the horse somewhat between you and this guy. I'm thinking ready attack on axe guy and shout, "It's deal with me or deal with the knights." Ooh, okay. Ready the longbow or the longsword? We're much better with our bow, but we are also in close proximity to him. Longsword, readying for the next attack. All right. So you use your free hand that's got the reins looped around it to reach down and draw out or you probably pass over the rope. Actually, you don't even need to hold onto the rope anymore because it's been removed. So you pass the other end of your rope of commanding over to your left hand, draw out your longsword and say, "It's deal with me or deal with the knights," and you sort of hold the tip of the blade towards the axe guy. And what is the readied trigger, Freezer? What is the trigger? I assume obviously the effect of the trigger is going to be that you attack him, but you're going to attack him if he what? If any attack comes into you from anyone or your allies, then you'll attack this guy. Awesome. Okay, so that is the readied action. You have a bonus action to do anything if you want to bonus action. I'm not sure that you can do much as a bonus action if you've already concentrated on Hunter's Mark. That's it. Awesome. All right. That is your turn. I am going to roll an intimidation check for you to see how intimidating your threat of the Knights of Kvosna is to these guys. That is a 4. It seems like that you are not in a very persuasive or intimidating position to use the threat of the cops on these guys. However, with your passive insight, you notice that the guy who has not yet shot you with the crossbow, he takes a big gulp as you mention the knight, and he kind of looks real sheepish. All right, so that is Apis' turn. It is if any hostile action comes in towards you, then you will attack this guy with your longsword. In the meantime, what do they do? Put myself in their position now. All right, so just smashed into the things. There's more bees around. There's actually another giant bee above. Is she gonna do it again? giant bee. That one. She's got to try and get herself out of this cloud of bees. So let's do that one first. Alright, so this one is going to be... the lady is going to try and get out of these cloud of bees by again, pulling these invisible magic missiles from the air. And then sending them... She's going to send 2 at the bees and 1 at the giant bee above her. So the 2 at the bees are average. So that's 5, 6, 7. 7 is more than they had left. Sorry, Militia, you were not very useful this round. You've been plenty useful in the past, but that is not anymore. So 2 of the missiles hit the bees, and the last of the missiles hits Mel for 2 points of damage. Mel takes 2. After her action is over, she has taken a hostile action towards your ally. So you're gonna make an attack with the long sword that you had readied. It keeps bouncing underneath the thing. That is a 2. That is a 2 on the dice. So your readied action, you see this lady casting something, so you strike it forward, but this guy pulls his axe round and knocks your sword to the side, managing to keep his body away from your blade. That was her action. She's got a bonus and movement. She is going to... she's going to move forward, and she says... there's a fucking bee attacking me! And she runs forward and she's like, what would she say? Who's she going for? She runs forward and says, "Come on, love, put your stuff down. We don't need to do this. Just put your things down." And she seems like she's more on the wavelength of the guy with the crossbow. She doesn't seem to want to be violent towards you. Then the guy with the crossbow, let him go, let him go. You didn't let him go, but he got out of it regardless, so he's still like... And then you mentioned the knight. He is going to walk over this way a little further, and let me just move that over so you can see. He's going to walk over this way a little further, still with the crossbow pointing at you, and he's going to pull it right up, and he's going to shout at you now, "We don't want to have to hurt you! Stop fighting!" And his hand is still shaking. He still takes no action against you. Opportunity attack from Mel. No, Mel wasn't above. Well, Mel wasn't in melee range of her. She was above her. That's hence the need for the wings. Mel is flying. So that guy's over. It is now Mel's turn. The militia are gone. Sorry, militia, you were no use this turn. Well, I wouldn't say no use, actually. They took up a couple of actions from somebody, which is always useful. Mel is going to... She's used her Soporific Swarm. She's used her Summon Swarm. All she's got left is her Sting. Does she want to swoop down and strike this lady? I think she does. Mel is going to swoop down and strike this lady. So now she's on her level. She's going to come for her with her big ass stinger. Let's roll it with Mel's dice. Oh, for goodness sakes, that's a 6. 6 plus Mel's sting attack is... Oh, that's a 12. Oh no, sorry, that's a 5. So that takes it to 11, which actually is her armor class. So as this big stinger comes in, she's like, "There's a fucking bee attacking me!" But Mel swoops down in to stick her with a massive needle-like stinger. But as she gets there, this woman just shoves her hand up like this, and trailing behind her hand is the same sort of mist that she's been pulling out of the air. And Mel's sting gets deflected off of it. And then this mist-like shield seems to stay around this woman for the next few seconds as she casts Shield. That is Mel's turn, because she's not going to now leave this woman. Although the woman doesn't have any... Yeah, she is actually going to leave the woman's range. Mel is going to just take off back up above her. She leaves her melee range, incurring an attack of opportunity from this woman, but it's basically just a backhand. She's just going to swat at Mel. So that's going to be... For goodness sakes. That's going to be a 6 as well. Makes sense for a wizard with an unarmed strike. Ah! Just swipes at this giant bee. Shield is a reaction. When you're about to get hit with something, you can, as a reaction, cast Shield and increase your armor class by 5. So that's what she did. So for the rest of the round, that woman's armor class is 16 rather than 11. She's still Hunter's marked. She's burning through her spell slots, though. And Mel is out of her reach. I think that's all that Mel can do. Bandits, 2. Everybody's bloody missing this time, aren't they? This bandit is no longer restrained, and you have been hostile. He is not quite as averse to violence as the other two, so he's going to turn to you and take a strike with his battle axe. Oh, that was almost a 12, rocked onto a 15. 15 plus his modifier is going to be enough. I'm going to roll I'll roll a d10, and somebody can tell me if it's wrong. 9 points of damage. 9 plus 3. That is a 12 points of damage. Thank you, Gino. 12 points of damage to Apis as a big strike of the battle axe comes in and hits you, taking you down to 23 points of damage. 23 out of 45. You are not technically under half your hit points yet, so you're not technically wounded. You do, however, have to make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save. That is a 12 plus whatever is going to be enough. So you still manage to concentrate. You still manage to concentrate on the Hunter's Mark. It's a D8 one-handed. He's using it two-handed. So it's a D10 damage. It's a D4. Very similar to Magic Missile. Yeah. He only has one attack, so now it is the dude in the tree. The dude in the tree is no longer hidden from you, so can't have advantage on the attack. He's going to just attack with disadvantage from where he is. That's an 18 or an 11. 11 plus his modifier is going to beat 14, unfortunately, so he is also going to hit you. And because you're in range of an ally, you're going to get... he's going to get sneak attack on his attack. Oh, 2 1s and a 2. So that is 4 plus his modifier of 3 is 7 points of damage to Apis. 7 off of 23 takes us to 16. This is not going well for Apis, as you are now bloodied. That is his turn. He's going to now start to come down the tree. Use his movement to get down the tree. And then he's going to use a bonus... well, he's not technically rogue. He is. Yeah, he's going to have a bonus action to dash. He's going to start dashing across this way. Dash him through the trees. That is all of Bandits 2. It is now Apis. Let's roll it. See who's going. Transmissions. Are you in the chat? Transmissions. Put a little emote or something to tell me that you're here. Alright, Transmissions, it is your turn. What is Apis going to do on this turn of combat? Try and keep in mind who Apis is and what sort of decisions they make. We have to risk. Shoot the girl down and intimidate that crossbow guy. I didn't do a Constitution saving throw for the sneak attack, did I? Constitution save. That was not Apis's dice, so I will re-roll with the Apis's dice. That is a fail. This is not going well. We are not rolling well at all, Apis. This whole fight's really gone against you, hasn't it? I'm afraid that is a fail. That was a 3 on the dice, and your Constitution of +2 takes it only to a 5, and that does not beat the DC of 10. So as this second arrow comes whizzing through the trees, hits into you again, you've now got 2 arrows sticking into your leather armor, and it drops your concentration on your Hunter's Mark. How close are they to dying? Apis is currently at 16 hit points left out of a total of 45. and this guy is still screaming, we don't want to have to hurt you, just drop your weapons and we just want your stuff. Get on the horse and try and run. Alright, getting on the horse and trying to run will incur an attack of opportunity from this guy. Can we shoot from the horse while running? Potentially, yeah. You can make an attack with a longbow while running. It'd be a bonus action to switch from your longsword, which is out, to a longbow, and then you'll get on the horse as part of your movement, and then you'll use your action with the longbow if you wanted to do that. We could Zephyr Strike first to avoid the attack of opportunity, yeah. But then you can't change your weapon, but then I suppose you could Zephyr Strike, get on the horse, attack with the longsword that you've already got drawn, and then run. Alright, well that sounds like what we're going to do then, transmissions. So, let me mark off the spell. One spell down. As Apis realises they're in a dire situation here, Apis calls upon the nature to slow the current passage of time ever so slightly, moving them faster through it. And as they do so, they are imbued with the speed of the wind. Moving like the wind, they dart away from this guy without occurring attack of opportunity. Darts up onto the horse, without attacking opportunity. And then takes their longsword and makes an attack. I will say that because you are on horseback, I will give you advantage on this. You've got the high ground, Anakin. So that is either a 12 or a 13. 13 plus your modifier is definitely going to beat this guy's armor class. So with your longsword, it's one-handed because you've got your other hand on the magic rope. So that is going to be a D8. Where's Apis' D8? Plus 1. So 5 plus 1. That's 6 points of damage to him. He's only taken 2 from friendly fire before, taking him to 8 points of damage. You're going to put the 1d8 force damage into it as well. You're going to use the once per thingy ability transmission. So transmission, you have the option to use the once per spell ability of Zephyr Strike that says that once before the spell ends, you can give yourself advantage on a weapon attack roll. You already had advantage, so that'll do nothing. The attack deals an extra D8 force damage on a hit, though. So you can choose to give yourself that extra damage if you want. If not now, then when? A lot of people saying, yeah, if you don't use it now, then when? Alright, so you summon, as you're striking down with the longsword, you're bringing it in a big arc, and you tap into that same nature magic that is making you move like the wind to move your hand in a particularly forceful fashion. Swift and accurately. Your hand brings it down for an extra, bouncing out of the goddamn tray, an extra 1. An extra 1 point of force damage. Every little helps, I suppose, but it wasn't all that climactic. Yeah! You strike him. The sword digs just an extra inch into the body before striking him across the chest. You've used your action, you've used your bonus action, you've used some of your movement to get on the horse. You've got more movement now because of the Zephyr Strike, and you kick the horse away out into gear essentially, and start moving them away. Where are you? You've got to tell me a direction. Transmissions. Which direction are we going? North, running and yelling to the crossbow man, "I don't want to hurt you." All right. So we get on. You shout to the guy who hasn't hurt us and say, "I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt you, pal." And we turn the horse and start to leave this guy's melee range. He is going to turn, and as you leave, he sort of like closes his eyes and like as if he's realised that you've chosen a fate that he would rather you hadn't chosen. Aims the crossbow after you as you run. But with his shaky hand, I'm going to impose disadvantage on his readied action. He has been readied for this, and he's going to trigger it. He's going to choose to take the shot finally. But he is so in two minds about it that I'm going to give him disadvantage on it. So that's going to be a 16 or a 6. 6 plus his modifier will not be enough to hit your armor class. So you hear the twang of a crossbow, and then you hear the of it snapping through a couple of twigs and leaves before it into a tree. It misses the horse and you, though, as you run. Alright, that is Apis's whole turn. Well done, 2 transmissions. Then we will move back into the first round of combat. First round of combat is the bandits 1 and 2. I know what he's going to do. He is going to reload his crossbow, aim it a little bit lower than you, though, and fire at the horse. 13 plus his modifier is enough to hit the horse. 8 max damage on the horse. How much has the riding horse got? Riding horses have usually got somewhere between, like, I don't know, like 15 and 20 hit points or something. Well, either way, even if that's not enough to kill Mr. Ed, that is more than half of Mr. Ed's hit points in a single round, which triggers my homebrew rule of massive damage. So Mr. Ed now needs to make a Constitution saving throw or go into some kind of system shock. And he failed it. That was a 5. So Mr. Ed goes into some kind of system shock. A 1. A 1 on the system shock means you drop to 0 hit points. So Mr. Ed, this guy who has been reluctant to shoot us the whole time, sees us running away, makes up his mind that you've kind of chosen your fate, aims at you and misses, and so aims at the horse. Boom! Hits the horse right in the back end. It does so much damage to the horse in a single attack that the horse the horse's system goes into shock and he drops to 0 hit points. Boom! And you go tumbling off of Mr. Ed. I'm going to make a dexterity check for you to see if you take any damage from hitting the ground. That is a 7. Literally every bloody roll is coming up not Millhouse. So you fall prone. You take 1 point of bludgeoning damage from slamming the ground pretty hard underneath Mr. Ed. You are down to 15 hit points. And Mr. Ed is on 0. Mr. Ed is technically still alive, but making death saves. And he's not in the initiative order, so I'll just put him on your turn. This is not going well. Alright. What to do? That was just him. It is now the lady's turn. The lady has just been attacked by the giant bee above her. Her shield now fades. She sees Mel above, and so she casts this same bluish glow from her, and then shoots it up towards Mel. That is a 6. So these are just whiffing and missing each other. Mel's armor class is way above that. Fires this ray of frost up into the sky, and Mel dodges to the side of it. It dissipates shortly after missing her. She looks across to this guy, who's been kind of shaky about the whole thing, and she says, Oliver, it's them or us! Get it together, man! And then she runs this way, through the trees, to try and get over to you. That is her turn. That is all of the bandits' turn. It is now Mel's turn. Mel is going to see that you're going towards him. She's going towards you, rather. Mel's going to take a strike with her spike, her sting. Who's she going to go for, though? Does she adrenaline the horse? Try and get the... No. She's going to go for this lady and just try and stab her. So she's got plenty enough movement to get to her. She drops out of the sky and makes a sting attack. Let's bring in this Mel stinger. 17! Alright, finally a hit from Mel. Okay, Mel, sting attack. That's 1d6 plus 4 piercing damage. Where's your Mel d6? There it is. 5, so 9 points of piercing damage, and target must make a Constitution saving throw. That was cocked against the 4. All right, it's finally coming up, Mel. That is a failed, so she's going to take all of the poison damage. So that was 9 points of piercing and another 4 and 6. There we go, another 10 points of poison. 19 points of damage. If the poison damage reduces the target to 0, which it does, the target is stable but poisoned for an hour. Alright, finally. Okay, something's going right for us. So Mel comes buzzing in and strikes right in the back, boom, of this woman as she's running over, having just shouted this thing to Oliver. The poison surges into her system, paralyzing this woman's whole nervous system. Boom, she hits the ground hard, and she is stable but poisoned and paralyzed. She is out of the fight. That was Mel's movement and her action. I suppose she's actually still got some movement, so she takes back to the sky and starts to go over this way. Where was she? So that was about 25. She dropped down 20 feet, so she's actually not got that much movement. She's going to go to about there, and she's going to be back up about 10 feet off the ground. That was Mel. That was now it's the bandits, the second bandit's turn. He's going to run this way, chase after you. I said Mel's 10 feet off the ground, so he doesn't get an attack of opportunity from her running underneath her. He's going to, with 30 feet, get all the way up to next to the horse. Just for the sake of us being off the map here, I'm going to pull everybody equal distance down here, just so that we've got some room to go. Apis has been thrown prone in front of the horse. Mel was down here, probably about here-ish. And this guy would be about here-ish. This guy would be down about here-ish. There we go. So with his whole movement, he gets to there. He's going to use his action to run over to here. And he's like running. He's still kind of in the process of running because he hasn't had his chance to like ready himself. He hasn't taken a readied action. Alright, so that guy had to use his turn to move. This guy is going to run up through the bushes. He's going to use a bonus action to dash, giving him, this is 60 there. Bonus action to dash. Then he's going to take a shot at you with a sort of sadistic smile on his face. You're prone, and he is using a ranged weapon, meaning he has disadvantage on the attack. You're also somewhat behind a horse from his perspective, so I'll give you a +2 to your armor class as well. So that's going to be a 2 or a 14. He'll take the 2 with the disadvantage, and he'll miss. It strikes into the ground next to you. That is all of the bandits. It is now Apis's turn. Let's draw it and see who's up. Banana Champion, can you let me know that you're still in the chat, please? Yes, awesome. Banana Champion, take your time. Tell me what you're going to do. We haven't used a health potion, I don't believe. Let me turn my dice cam off for a second and go back over here. Yeah, we've still got a health potion below me over here, look. We've still got all of this stuff in our inventory in case any of it triggers an idea. And we've got 1 spell slot left. Getting up is half movement, correct. So standing from prone is half of your movement. Drinking a potion as an action. So here's how I do potions, Banana Champion. You can use your action to drink the potion, in which case you just get the maximum that you can get from it, which in this case is 10 hit points. So you can use your action to get 10 hit points back. Or you can use it as a bonus action, in which case you roll for it. You would roll 2d4 plus 2. You might get anywhere between 4 and 10 hit points back. Get up and move to the northwest. If you get up and move to the northwest, you'll be leaving this guy's melee range, and he will get an attack of opportunity on you. See if you concentrated on Zephyr after falling off of a horse. 19, you did. You managed to concentrate on Zephyr after falling off of a horse. So Zephyr is still active, so you are quite right that getting up and moving to the northwest will not trigger an attack of opportunity. So you stand to your feet. That takes half your movement. You've got 12.5 feet left, and you start to move this direction. That takes you to 12.5, is about there. Boom. So that's your movement. You've still got action and bonus action. You can use your action to dash if you want to move another 25 feet. Shoot the axe guy with your bow and drink a potion as a bonus action. You currently, just to let you know, you currently have your longsword out. Longsword in one hand and your magic rope in the other. In order to shoot him with a bow and arrow, you would have to drop both your longsword and your whatever it's called, the rope, and then switch to your longbow. So you can drop them for free, switch to your longbow for free, take an attack as part of the action, and then still have a bonus to drink the potion. Or you can use a bonus action to stow one of the two things that you're holding. You'd still have to drop the other one. Okay, drop them both. All right. So you drop the bow. You drop the longsword. You drop the rope. You pull your bow out. You turn around and you take a shot with your bow at the axe guy. This guy here. And then you're going to use your bonus action to try and drink a health potion, right? All right. Here we go. Attack with Apus's dice. Ooh, is that cocked? It's definitely not cocked. I mean, it definitely is cocked. Oh, it wasn't on the dice cam, so I can say it was whatever I want it to be. It was definitely cocked, everybody. It was definitely cocked. That is it's one better than it was. That is a 6. A 6 plus our longbow damage of 7 takes it to 13. 13 actually is enough to... Yeah, 13 is actually enough to hit this guy. It's a good thing we're so good with a longbow. D8 plus 3 damage. A D8 plus 3. Here we go. Stop going under the... 4. 4 plus 3. That's 7 points of damage. 7 points of damage takes him to bloodied. He is now bloodied and has taken 16 hit points of damage. As you turn around, you strike him with a bow. What else do we want to do? Banana Champion? Are we going to bonus action drink the potion? Oh, you could have bonus action. I will allow this to be retconned as well because my dice cam was covering it. You can instead of bonus action potion, you can bonus action planar warrior to do an extra D8 force damage to that attack. Now we'll do potion. All right. Banana Champion says we are going to use the potion. So heading over to the main page, we need the hit points back. So we're going to chug back our potion, allowing us to roll 2d4 plus 2 and regain the hit points from it. Here we go, here we go, here we go. That is a 4 and a 3. That is only one off the max anyway. So 4 and a 3 is 7 plus 2 is 9. We regain 9 hit points. Things are starting to regress to the mean, everybody. We might still have a chance, taking us up to 24 and removing the bloodied condition. We are above half of our hit points again. That was a bonus action, a movement, and an action. That was everything we can do, and it was done very well. Well done, Banana Champion. In the meantime, we are back to the top of the round and the bandits. She is stable. She is out of it. It is just this bandit down here. He shouts, "Mon, don't kill her!" And sets off running after you. After everything that's happened. That's 30 feet to here. As he gets round here, he sees what's-her-face's. He sees that Felicity has hit the ground. He's going to dash past her and over to you. And then with his free object interact, he's going to pick up your sword. He's going to lean down and pick up your sword, and now he's got a crossbow in one hand that's unloaded, and your long sword in his other. That's what he's done. That is the bandit's turn. It is now Mel's turn. Mel sees this guy. This guy definitely looks more sinister as well, and he looks like he's more enjoying the thrill of the chase and the attack and everything. So she is going to drop down from her lofty height, and she's going to take a stab at him with her Mel B stinger. 7 plus her attack of 5 is 14. 7 plus 5 is 14. Maths, everybody. I've made so many maths mistakes today. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 is not enough to hit his armor class, unfortunately. So then she is going to fly up above him as well. No, actually she's not. She's going to stay with him because... Oh no, she's not that smart. She's got a 6 intelligence. So she's going to get out of his range. He's going to try and swat her away with his bow. He's only got a bow and arrow out, so that's all he can use to attack her with. 5 plus his modifier won't be enough to hit her, so he just kind of like swipes her away and she doesn't manage to get the attack in. Alright, what now? It is the bandits 2. The axe guy is going to step up to you. He says, "We're going to take your stuff one way or another. You can either be alive after or not." And then he like holds his axe like ready, and he's taken the ready action for a few. Well, if you do something, I guess. This guy, however, is going to. He's just going to pick up pull out an arrow and shoot it off at the bee that just tried to attack him. Oh, almost a 12. 2 plus modifier is not enough. It fires off into the sky. He then uses his movement to head over here through this bush. And then he's going to take the hide action somewhere over here, and he's going to disappear from view. Obviously, you're going to be able to know where he is, but I'm just going to hide him like that so that it's easy to remember that he's hidden from Apus's perspective. Or is he? Let's roll a stealth check. 7 plus his stealth modifier. Apus's passive perception. Perception is a +4, so 14. It actually, he is considered hidden from your perspective. Alright, that is all of the bandits. It is now Apus's turn. Apus, let's roll it and find out what we're doing. Lunia 404, can you let us know that you're still here, please, Lunia? Oh, technically, meets or beats. So technically, you would, with your passive, you would actually see him. You've got a 14 and he got a 14 as well because he had a +7. So technically, he's not hidden from you actually. Still here, Lunia. All right, Lunia, take your time, but let me know what it is that you're going to do. We're in a bit of a situation, but we're kind of holding our own a little bit. What I meant by holding our own, Sparrow, is that we've lasted another like 3 rounds after I thought that you'd be going down. The way that the dice were going, you were on track to like be out of it the very next round, but we've managed to hold off the inevitable for another few rounds at this stage. So move away next to the woman, and threaten to kill her if they don't drop their weapons. Okay, cool. So Apus, seeing an opportunity, even if it's a bluff, because Apus would probably never kill an unarmed person, Apus decides that bluffing is probably the best course of action here. Uses the movement like the wind to get out of these guys' melee range without incurring an attack of opportunity. However, as they leave this guy's melee range, his readied action was specifically on the trigger of you moving past him, about to move out of his space. So he's readied himself to still take the attack of opportunity, essentially, which gets around your Zephyr thing. Because you've now left his range twice and he hasn't been able to get an attack, so he knows that there's something dodgy going on with you. And that's why he readied himself. He's like, it doesn't have to go this way. And then you left and he was ready for it. So he's going to take the strike. That's a 10 plus his modifier will meet or beat your 14. So his d10 damage, 4 plus his modifier of 3, you take 7 points of slashing damage from him, taking you to 17 left, and leading you back into the bloodied condition. As you strike, it hits you right across the back, and it cuts through a chunk of your armor, and you feel like a centimeter of a centimeter deep, but like, I don't know, 6 inches long wound open up across your back, and you start to feel some hot blood start to seep down your lower back. But with the rest of your movement, you manage to get all the way over to her. You've got a bow and arrow drawn. You get an arrow out and you hold it above her, like almost point blank, and you threaten. Drop your weapons or I'll kill her. All right, I think I'm going to give you the. In fact, this doesn't need an intimidation roll. This is either a circumstance that is an auto success or not, depending on how each of them feel about her. Problem with dice cam is Rob can't fudge to save us. Yes. All right, so I will say that you are taking the readied action. What is the trigger, Lunia? What is the trigger here? The trigger is if any of them attack you, or if any of them get back to their turn without dropping their weapon, or their trigger is if they start to move towards you, or what? And what is the effect that you are readying? Because I don't feel like Apis would coup de grace somebody, even in this situation. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. You guys play Apis, not me. If anyone moves towards us with their weapons drawn, we're ready to shoot the one moving. Awesome. Well done, Lunia. And because you acted in keeping with Apis not wanting to kill someone who is unarmed and unconscious, but instead you offered that if they move towards us, we shoot that person in particular. That is very in keeping with Apis, so I'm going to give you the inspiration. Put your weapons down or I'll kill her! You shout to each of them. Then that is your turn done. Meanwhile, we've got the bandits. The only one of bandits 1 that's still alive is the mustachioed guy up here. Ooh, this is an interesting question, actually. Does he know Thunderbolt's hiding next to them? I don't think he does. Alright, so he's got a crossbow in one hand, unloaded. He's got a sword in the other. You shout, "Drop your weapons or I'll kill her," and just almost without thinking, he just lets your longbow, your longsword drop to the ground again next to your rope. At which point the axe guy looks over and says, "Oliver, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Mon, look how she's fighting! She could help us!" And Mon looks and then looks back to you with sort of a different light. And then goes, well, he doesn't do anything, it's not his turn yet. Yeah, I think that's it. He doesn't drop his crossbow, but he did drop your longsword. He doesn't reload his crossbow either. I think that's all he's going to do. Is he going to move anywhere? He's just going to take a step to the side so that he can see you a little better. That's it. Then it is Mel's turn. Mel is going to chase after the guy that shot at her. And what is Mel's passive perception? She has a +3. So her passive is a 13. He got a 14 on his stealth. So she actually does not see him. She kind of like goes flying past him, trying to find him. As an action, she's going to take the search action. She's going to see if she can see him. 15 plus her 3, 18. So it takes her action to actually find him, but she does spot where he is. Which means, I guess, that he should go back to the object layer now. Because now everybody on the battlefield kind of can know where he is. She's gonna with the rest of her movement, she's gonna drop down next to him as if she's about to try and stab him, but she just doesn't have the action to actually get there. What now? It is Bandits 2 now. Bandits 2. Bandits 2 is the axe guy who looks at you and says, Alright, puts his hand up. Alright. We'll put our weapons down. Everybody put weapons down. I think you can help us with something. And drops his battle axe. And says, just don't hurt her. At which point there's a voice from behind that says, you fucking traitors! And then there is a swipe with an unarmed strike against this bee to see if he can clobber her out of the way. That actually, it's not. He's doing more of a push attack than a strike attack, so it's a contested check. That was a 13 for him before it got knocked. 14 for her. Who's got the higher ability here? Acrobatics. She can actually push. Oh no, it's athletics, isn't it? No, it's acrobatics or athletics to avoid a push. So he's trying to push her out of the way, but she just kind of like buzzes and does like a front flip and zoop back into the position that he just pushed her out of. And she's still in his space. So he's like kind of in a bush that he was hiding in and just stuck there by a giant bee. And then okay, so after he fails that, he goes, you fucking traitors! And then he tries to push her out of the way and he can't get to them. So instead he goes, Phagos will eat your fucking throats. I'll make sure of it. That is his turn. Back to Apis' turn. Let's roll it and see who it is. Clin Gilsey. Can you please make sure that we know you're still in the chat? Are you still here, Clin Gilsey? You're here. Awesome. Clin, tell me what you're going to do. Take your time. If you play your cards right here, it could be the end of combat. I can see that as a potential. I'm not sure how you're going to do it, but that's really up to you and your creativity. You think diplomacy. Alright, so you're going to try and talk with them. Ask them what they're up to. Alright. Okay. So we're still in a dominant position. We've got a negotiating chip on the ground in front of us now. So we say, what do you mean? What are you up to? And at that point, the dude who's done most of the speaking, Oliver with the mustache, he says, we're working for somebody who makes us do this for him. And that is where I'm going to leave it for tonight. And we will pick up here in episode 26. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. It has been a blast. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.